Good afternoon, and welcome to the Ole Valley School District's POW-MIA flag raising ceremony. The Ole Valley prides itself in our sense of community. It is so fitting that the National POW-MIA Recognition Day is celebrated today, September 19th, and it falls during our community fair. I would like to thank all of you for coming out to attend and to support this hallowed ceremony. As the superintendent of schools for the Ole Valley School District, I am proud to say that we have flown the POW-MIA flag for years. For those of you that don't know, Berks County has 3 men listed as MIA: Colonel Thomas Dugan, Captain David Pennybacker, and our own 1951 graduate, Ralph Angstead. Lieutenant Colonel Angstead went missing while conducting a mission to recover a downed pilot in the Gulf of Tonkin on October 18, 1966. After an extensive search, no trace of the crew or aircraft was found. And at this point, I'd like to recognize Mrs. Janet Klauser and her family, the sister of Lieutenant Colonel Angstead. Are you going to come up and say a few words? If you want to? And we're pretty close to the curb. I'll stand behind you in case you start to drift back. Okay.
That's a plan. Ralph was born in Ole and was a member of Freedom's Evangelical Lutheran Church. He was a 1950 graduate of Ole High School, where he played basketball. He joined the Air Force after graduation and served as an enlisted man until 1954, when he was commissioned a second lieutenant and made a flight observer. He received his pilot's wings in 1957. He attended Florida State University. In '63, while stationed in Okinawa, Ralph served as project officer during the Mercury space program. In Vietnam, Ralph served as the pilot of a Huey-16 helicopter stationed at Da Nang Air Base. He liked what he was doing and was glad to be able to serve his country. Ralph and his crew of 6 took off to participate in a rescue mission over North Vietnam, and after the mission was completed, he radioed that the plane was returning to base. No further communications were received, and the craft failed to return. A 1-week search over land and water found no trace of the aircraft or crew. Ralph holds the Distinguished Flying Cross and the Bronze Star. His family at the time included his wife, Charlesy, 3 daughters, his mother, a sister, and 2 brothers. Ralph was in Vietnam 5 months. He was 34 years old at the time of his disappearance. And I said, until I know what happened to my brother, I will not give up hope. He may be somewhere. Thank you.
As we raise these flags later today, I wanted to stress that flying these cherished symbols alone is not enough. Individually, we must take the time to remember and pay tribute to the meaning represented in these flags. These acts of remembrance, honor, and support are small repayments on a debt that we can never fully repay. To all of you that have answered the call and served in our armed forces, thank you for your service and your sacrifice. to the families that are still waiting the return of your loved one, we stand by you with our thoughts and our prayers. At this time, I'd like to take a moment of silence for our POWs and MIAs. Thank you. I would like to recognize now Mr. Charlie Ackerman and the Topton American Legion Post 217 Honor Guard, and call up Haley Fyrick, who will sing the national anthem and lead the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Now I'd like to recognize State Representative David Maloney to make a few remarks.
Good morning, everybody. First thing I would have to say is thank you. I want to give special shout out to Superintendent Weston, to the school board, to the administration, to everybody with respect to this school and how they receive this and how they have very willingly recognized the sacrifice and why we're here today. I believe as we go on with our life and we get busy, many times we forget things. And for me, the significance of this POW-MIA flag is the fact that it says, "You are not forgotten." And many of us, as we have heard today, the heart-wrenching sort of emptiness, if you will, of not knowing where our loved one, family member, patriot is. For me, many years ago, starting in this endeavor to make this a requirement on all state property, took a little bit of time. It took a little bit of legalese and all those things that happen to pass this legislation. What's been encouraging to me, locally especially, is that This was done nationally. It wasn't done in a state level. We had, like we heard from the superintendent today, schools and other entities who have recognized this flag, but it was not really given its recognition. And again, that's what to me is very important about today, especially on the National Day. And that's a timing issue. We all understand that. We can't always make that happen, but how coincidental to be able to have and to be part of that today is pretty remarkable. You know, many of us know that we have stories and we have history, Sons of the American Revolution. I last year and just presently went to go visit my relative, General George Custer, and when you see the sacrifice, when you see the untold stories, when you see sort of the facts that are hidden or sort of changed, it brings back something I think that we should all be appreciative of. I had an uncle who was left behind by MacArthur. He lived in the Philippine Islands for 3 years in the jungle. He didn't take the Bataan Death March. He went into the jungle. Those men fought a hidden war to help bring back the freedom of another country that we don't even know those stories. About 3 books were written about them, but the fact of the matter is many of us here have those things inside that are never shared. We have local people, again, that really bring it front and center for us to understand that many people sacrificed everything for us to have freedom. And for me, that means a lot to be a part of this. We have some local folks. I'm going to give a couple personal shout outs because of the endeavor here. Cliff Kirshner. And the reason I want to tell you this is because this is the 3rd school within the district that has stepped forward to make a ceremony recognizing this flag, those folks that were connected to it, especially in the era of the Vietnam War. And although we go back to the beginning of time in this country, and we will soon be celebrating 250 years, it's remarkable, but yet much of it has been sort of overlooked and forgotten. And so to me, to see this today is special. I just think that the statistics that you're about to hear, the things that you're about to hear from the different folks that will be coming up next, I think we should all really pay attention to, because it is really the untold story. So I want to thank you all again. What a beautiful day, no rain. And the fact of the matter is, let's not ever forget the sacrifice of those that have gone before us. God bless you all.
Next to the podium, we'll have Bill Evans, Senator Schwank's Chief of Staff.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to begin by thanking the Superintendent Weston and the Ole Valley School District for organizing this important event and giving us all the opportunity to reflect on the meaning of the Prisoner of War and Missing in Action flag. I'm sure we all recognize this flag. We see it on government buildings. We see it on properties throughout Berks County. And while we recognize the flag, we should never lose thought of what it represents. And a day like this helps us, and reminds us rather, to serve as a reminder of those who have served our country and never returned. It also serves our country's commitment to account for every missing service member. To the families, it honors and recognizes their loved one's service and the pursuit of their closure and recognition of their loss that we as a country share with you. And I know many of you know this, and there may be statistics discussed after I'm finished, but I think it's important to just note that the history of the flag goes back to 1972, when the U.S. Congress took steps to officially recognize it. And at that time, the United States was embroiled in the Vietnam War, and there were only rough and inaccurate estimates of the total number of service members missing in action. And as the searches for the members continued for many years following, and at the conclusion, to this day it's estimated there's over 1,600 that's still unaccounted for from the Vietnam War. But today, the flag has grown to stand for every service member taken prisoner or missing in action in every conflict, past and present. And that's important. And in closing, it's also important that we pay tribute to our service members who have not returned, and to reaffirm our recognition and support for their families. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce Charlie Ackerman, Topton American Legion Post 217.
It is truly an honor for us to be here and a privilege to speak to you today about the POW-MIA flag and its importance. That simple white and black symbol that we have is both a banner, but just a piece of black cloth with white screen printed images. A profound symbol that means you're not forgotten. It's one of the few flags that's actually a flag and a banner, as it started out as a banner. Raising the flag here today at Ole High School is a powerful public act of remembrance, ultimately representing the nation's commitment as well as an unwavering commitment of those assembled here today. By raising the flag today, we declare three things: accountability, remembrance, and duty of unity. The Pledge of Accountability, the flag symbolizes our nation's commitment to achieving the fullest possible accounting for all the missing personnel, a constant reminder that the search for answers continues. A constant signal of remembrance. The flag is meant to be visible, a reminder of the sacrifice of our unreturned veterans for families. It is a sign that their loved one's sacrifice isn't forgotten. And the act of unity. The flag unites veterans, families of veterans, and all the Americans in a shared cause. And as you just heard, in 2019, the federal law requires a flag to be flown at all the U.S. prominent locations. And as a veteran and a Legionnaire, I'm absolutely happy that the American Legion strongly supports the POW-MIA flag as a symbol of that commitment to fully accounting for the American prisoners of war and missing folks. Each time the flag is raised, it rekindles the hope and reinforces the duty. It is a promise that we will keep searching, we will keep remembering, and we will keep never forgetting who sacrificed their freedoms. Thank you.
Next to the podium, I'd like to invite Mr. John Henschel, Ole American Legion Post 878, and also a member of Berks County Chapter 131, Vietnam Veterans.
Being the last speaker, I always worry. Now, what are they going to say in front of me? Are they going to say what I have down here to share? And then I was reminded, and I thank Dave for reminding me, they need to hear it. They need to hear it again. And we need to hear it again and again and again. But anyway, I am a Vietnam veteran. I spent the whole year of 1968 in Vietnam. And I'm thankful to say I never had to spend Christmas there. They sent me over right after Christmas, December 28th, 1967. And then they were polite enough to let me come home a week before Christmas in 68. So I spent the whole year of 68 there. But anyway, I was in the United States Air Force. I was in the security police and a member of the K-9 department. But And like the superintendent said, I'm a member of the American Legion here at Post 878 and also of the Vietnam Veterans Chapter 131, Berks County. And I too would like to start out by thanking the superintendent. This means so much that the schools open this up to us. I'd like to thank Superintendent Weston and for organizing this flag raising ceremony, and Principal William Harrison and the Ole High School staff for hosting this event. And I'd also like to personally thank you, Dave. Dave is not only our representative, he's a friend of mine. We go to church together, but I really appreciate Representative Maloney for his tireless work in introducing and getting the legislation passed leading to the flying of the MIA POW flag, wherever the United States flag is flown on the grounds and buildings owned by the Commonwealth. And I truly, we as veterans absolutely appreciate the work you put into that. But most of us are keenly aware of the deaths of our military service personnel. The numbers are staggering. When we consider the number of lives that have been lost, preserving the rights and freedoms that we enjoy in this country of ours, their sacrifice and loss should never be forgotten, and it should always be honored. But there's another segment of our military that have to receive the same honor and respect, and they are the prisoners of war and those missing in action. Many of those prisoners of war were tortured and held in isolation for years and years. Army Special Forces Captain Floyd Thompson was held captive for nearly 9 years before being released on March 16, 1973. Operation Homecoming saw the return of 591 U.S. prisoners of war. That number included 325 from the Air Force, 138 from the Navy, 77 from the Army, and 26 from the Marines. It also included 25 civilian employees of the U.S. government. The other group that we absolutely can never let be forgotten are our MIAs, those that are still missing in action, those that have never been returned or even located. You may be shocked to realize that just since World War II, there are 80,984 military personnel, American military personnel, who are still missing. They were never returned. They were never even accounted for. In World War II, there are still 71,884. From Korea, 7,401 still missing in action. From the Cold War, 126 people missing from the Cold War. Vietnam still has 1,566 American servicemen missing in action. They, along with 7 from Iraq, have never been located or returned to their families. 89 of our Pennsylvanians are still missing in action from their deployments to Vietnam. 3 of these men were already mentioned, and like I said, I'm going to mention them again. These are our guys. These are our neighbors. They're our friends. 3 of these men are from right here in Berks County, and that's Captain David Panabacker. He went missing on March 27th, 1972, and was from Wilmersdorf. Colonel Thomas Wayne Dugan from Reading went missing on December 13th, 1968, just 5 days before I returned home from Vietnam. And our own Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Angstadt, right here from Ole, went to Ole High School, played basketball for Ole High, and he went missing on October 18th, 1966. In the fall of 1970, MIA and POW bracelets were introduced to bring attention to the number of Americans being held captive in Vietnam or missing in action. This is one that I wear. I still have it. There we go. There, you still have your brothers. Amen. But anyway, Specialist 5 Richard J. Lacey was in the United States Army. He was in the 1st Signal Brigade, Communications, and he's from near Pittsburgh. He's one of our Pennsylvania veterans that's missing. He went missing on January 31st, 1968. He was delivering a message with another soldier to Saigon on the same morning our base at Benoit, where I was stationed, came under attack, and we were penetrated during a 7-hour battle that morning, and we lost several of our men, and that was the kickoff of Tet, where all the major bases were hit. Richard was 20 years old and serving his country, and he was never seen again. In closing, I would just like to say thank you to all of you for coming out to this flag-raising ceremony, and ask that as you go about your busy day and enjoy life and all the good things that go with it, take a little time to think about these exceptional, brave servicemen, American servicemen, that gave it all. They gave it all for the freedoms we have. And enjoy, it's right here, enjoy the Ole Fair and the community we have here, because that is exactly what they were serving for. Our local veterans, of course, would have enjoyed the Ole Fair, and that's what they want us to do, enjoy it. The Lord does understand sacrifice, so please give thanks for these servicemen and pray for their families, because that kind of pain and loss just doesn't go away easily, not in this life. It stays with you forever. So thank you again for taking your time out of your day, and remember, just enjoy the fair, stop by our American Legion booth over here, and say hello. We'd love to talk with you. And our stand over here is right across from Representative Maloney's. But anyway, thank you again for all coming out today. This means a lot. Thank you.
We'll begin with the presentation of flags, which will be done by Cliff Kirchner from the Berks County Chapter 131 Vietnam Veterans. The flag raising will then commence by Carl Brown and the Ole American Legion Post 878, followed with the sounding of taps by Chester Rominski from Buglers Across America.
Today we gather in solemn respect and unwavering commitment to honor those who served and never returned, our prisoners of war, and those missing in action. As a member of Berks County Chapter 131, Vietnam Veterans of America, I respectfully present the U.S. and POW-MIA flag in remembrance of the over 80,000 men and women who are missing from all wars. Isn't that incredible? 80,000. Including our brother, Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Angstad, and also two of our brothers from Berks County, Colonel Thomas Dugan and Captain David Pennebecker, who are still missing in action.
Flag detail, front and center.
We entrust you and the Ole Valley School District with the sacred duty of raising and flying the U.S. flag and the POW-MIA flag with honor, respect, and continual remembrance. Let this act of remembrance reinforce our collective promise: you are not forgotten.
Okay, retire to the flagpole.
Before I raise the flag, or before we raise the flag, I want to read a poem that's very poignant to the point of this presentation. And it's Unless You've Been a Soldier by Clive Sanders. Unless you've been a soldier, you just won't understand the things that we have seen and done in service of this land. We were trained to live in combat and to deal with dreadful sights that shouldn't be seen by anyone and keeps you awake at nights. We won't discuss the wounds we have to the body or the mind. We just put our hurts behind us and turn our memories blind. We are proud we have served the country, but remember those we've lost. For freedom that you have today, they've paid the awful cost. Flag detail, secure the rope.
Attach the American flag. Please salute.
Right shoulder arms.
At ease. Attach the MIA flag. Bring it all the way down. That's the POW-MIA flag. and secure the flag at half-mast. That's good. Too far. Half-mast.
At ease. We're flying the flag at half-mast today in honor of the officers that were killed in York County yesterday or the day before. So, Mr. Superintendent, thank you for recognizing the importance of the POW-MIA flag, and thank all of you for coming out today.
May be seated. There is a slight adjustment to the closing remarks. Unfortunately, Mrs. Coral, School Board Director, was not able to make it due to health reasons. So I'd like to call up to the stage now Mr. Andrew Klein, School Director, for the closing remarks prepared by Mrs. Coral.
Thank you all for being here today to honor our nation's prisoners of war and those still missing in action. This ceremony, a first for our school, is more than just a tradition. It's a solemn commitment to never forget. Today, we come together as a school and a community. We've heard from so many who have made this possible. First, Mr. Aaron Weston, our superintendent, for orchestrating a beautiful display of patriotism and honor. Second, the Topton American Legion Post 217 Honor Guard, led by Charlie Ackerman, for their dignified presence. Third, Haley Fyrek for leading us in the national anthem and Pledge of Allegiance. Fourth, our elected officials, Representative David Maloney, and Bill Evans, the Chief of Staff of Senator Schwank, for their special remarks. Fifth, John Henschel from the Berks County Chapter 131 Vietnam Veterans, and Charlie Ackerman, who spoke with us with such conviction. Sixth, Cliff Kirshner and Carl Brown from the American Legion Post 878, and the moving presentation of Raising Our Flag. Eighth, and finally, a special thank you to Chester Rominski for the poignant sounding of taps. This flag we now fly is a symbol of our promise. It serves as a reminder of the two known MIAs from our very own community. Three known MIAs from our very own community. One from Ole Valley, who never made it home. It's easy to get caught up in our daily lives and forget the sacrifices of those who came before us. But this flag, flying beneath the American flag, will be a constant, visual reminder for every student who walks these halls, a reminder of the cost of freedom. The unity and community spirit we see here today are what makes our country strong. When we stand together, united in a common purpose, to honor those who served, we show that their sacrifices were not in vain. This flag doesn't just represent the past, it represents our shared commitment to a future built on honor, remembrance, and community. Thank you.
Again, thank you all for coming out, and this concludes our ceremony. Have a great day, everybody.